In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Well, Mason,
What are we talking about today, Cash?
today we're talking about a movie.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know it's
What?
a little different from what we're used
This
to.
is way different than what we're used to. You're trying to tell me we came on this podcast to talk about a movie.
Yeah. Ever seen one?
Once, I think,
Well, tell me about it.
in a theater. It was
a theater.
Yeah, theater. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Pretty good experience.
One of those
overall.
motion pictures, one of those
Yep.
talkies,
Depth.
have sound. Those are crazy.
It definitely wasn't a silent film.
We gotta bring up, this could be potentially our last show on the old Mac.
This is the last podcast, the last official podcast on that bugger.
Speaking
over
of techno,
there.
that old jalopy, she's
Oh,
rarely
man.
hanging
She
in
has
there.
ran so good for many years.
Yeah, she's smoking
She's
at
been
this
working
point.
hard since 2013.
She's on her last legs.
She is. She is.
This is like the fact that she's running right now.
It's a miracle.
It's one of those where, like, if she could talk, it'd be like, I'm too old for this shit. And she'd be like, 2
She's got
days to
that
retire.
raspy
She'd be like,
cigarette
two,
voice. She's
two
like,
days
I'm too
from
old for this shit.
2 days from retirement, and she's gonna die right now, right before we can send her off to that.
No, she needs. This is her last leg. This is her last time. I'm asking her to do this.
Yeah.
She's got to come through.
She's
We gotta
hurting though. You
finish
can
this
tell. You
podcast.
can tell she's hurt. She's
Yeah,
been.
she is.
this-
She's lagging over there. She's like, God dang it.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I see smoke coming from the top.
It-
I don't think
It's a little alarming.
I didn't even know they took oil, but this one's leaking oil.
It is leaking. I don't know where that came
I'm
from.
not sure. You shouldn't be oiling your computers, Mason. That could be a
Google how to oil my iMac.
Well, what are we doing as this go away show? What could anything be more appropriate?
Then Bad Times at the El Royale.
That finally the highly anticipated 2018 movie that everybody's been waiting for us to do.
And it was crazy because I remember when this came out and I was like, man, I really want to see that. Never saw it. But that was the case with a lot of people. This movie failed at the box office.
Absolutely, yeah.
Miserably failed.
So this is the first time you actually never watched it, huh?
No, I have not.
I think
That's why I wanted to review it.
I think I watched it when it came out because we were supposed to review it. I think I went thinking we were going to review it.
We did not
So this
review
is the second time that I have seen old Fast Times, Bad Times at the El Royale.
It's so funny. So many people want to call it the Fast Times. It's the Bad Times.
I know.
at the
Every time I say I want to think
Fast Times at Richmond High. Yeah.
Would be a great crossover. Fast Times at the El Royale. Just saying.
Great crossover. Actually, sign me up.
Yeah. So why are we doing this movie, Mason? Why
We're doing
out of
this
all the catalog of movies, the hundreds of years worth of motion pictures, we have every movie at our disposal, every single one. And you chose 2018's Fast Times, Bad Times at the El Royale.
In my defense,
Okay.
we were originally supposed to do Men in Black International. However, the movie was almost not worth reviewing in many ways. So we switched Chris Hemsworth for Chris Hemsworth.
We knew that we had to do a Chris Hemsworth
We had
movie
to.
this week because this is Chris Hemsworth week on Have You Seen
on
a
Have You Seen a
Podcast
Podcast?
that we do
As a
every
matter of fact, yep. We have
So-
posters everywhere. You can't see them, but the ones in the corners, they're both Chris Hemsworth.
they're all around the walls.
Very revealing,
that
too.
don't
I'm
have
not
cameras
quite sure
on
why
them.
they're so sexual. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, it seems like all you got
strange.
were semi-nudes. I mean,
Laying
a lot of these aren't even
beachside,
movie
open
posters.
shirt. Yeah, very
A
strange.
lot of them are just him sleeping. It looks like you went into his house and took these photos.
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Well, we're not going to get into it.
No, we will not.
But Chris Hemsworth, fun little fact, he had to lose a bunch of weight for this.
And he looks great.
He looks very
like,
good.
let's be honest. I was
But
extremely envious.
He's not bulky Thor.
No, but he's very slender, cultist vibe, like doing the weird dance and stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of cults, we actually speak about cults
quite often on this podcast.
On pretty much every podcast.
It's alarming.
If this wasn't a movie podcast, it would just be a cult podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, which might be a good idea. You might want to write that down. Just keeping people up to date with what cults are going on, with what cults are alive, because there's got to be multiple cults right now. I know the Nexium sex cult with all those actors and everything right now. That just broke.
Yeah, the XYZ or whatever that was.
Yeah, so there's always a ton of cults going around. But this is
and one thing we know about cults: they always end happily.
Great.
Always great.
Always great.
Always a good time.
You either become a religion, and you're set for hundreds of years,
thousands of years, or
you kill,
fade out and die, and kill a lot of.
Well,
people
you don't really just fade out; you just die,
burn out. Yeah.
Yeah, usually just killing yourselves. You're literally just dying, killing everyone. That's the fastest way to kill a cult.
It is.
Is to kill everyone.
Kill everyone in the cult.
Because one thing you need for a cult, it's people. And a cult without people is just some guy yelling on the corner.
It's not the same thing.
No, it's absolutely. He's got no pull. But so maybe the best thing that this movie does for us is gives us a bad guy, Chris Hemsworth. The first time I think I've ever seen him.
Very, very good performance. He
does. He does a good job, right?
I was so surprised.
I'd fucking join any cult. Anything.
As would I.
I mean, it would not take.
I didn't blame Rose not one bit. I said, you know what? Your sister or Chris Hemsworth at this state? Well,
Chris Hemsworth really comes in. He's a little drenched he's moist. He's got a
white shirt that's just very revealing.
Yeah, it's got one button, and that button's just hanging on just by the last fucking his fingertips, and everyone's just begging for that last button to give it. They
are chomping at the bit, my friend.
So it's definitely he plays essentially Charles Manson in this.
Mm-hmm. And that's who I thought they were going to reveal who he was playing, but it wasn't. He ended up being Bobby Lee in this.
Bobby Lee, which is a.k.a.
no,
Charles
Billy
Manson.
Lee.
Billy
Excuse
Lee,
me,
yeah.
Billy Lee.
Bobby Lee
is
an
a
Asian comedian.
Yes, he's very
Two
funny.
very different
guy,
people,
not
though.
a cultist at all. I'm very sorry, Bobby.
And he's probably the opposite of Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth is tall and extremely good shape. Bobby Lee is short and fat.
Yes.
And
have you seen his girlfriend?
Yeah, she's smoking
a smoke show.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because they talk about it all the time on fucking all that shit. But we don't need to plug other podcasts.
No, we don't.
But yeah, he plays a cult leader in this. He plays a bad guy. I don't know if we're ever gonna, or it's how long it's gonna be before we get another Chris Hemsworth. I loved it.
I don't know.
I want him to play bad guys.
I want him to play more
always
bad
want
guys.
people that don't play bad guys to play bad guys.
And that's the thing with Chris Hemsworth is he really has surprised me so many times. Like where I'm like, kind of getting tired of the whole Thor thing. And then boom, Ragnarok comes out and I'm like, what? He totally revitalized this character for me. And then I'm like, man, but can he really act? And then you see a movie like Bad Times at El Royale and you see him as a cult leader and a really evil, sadistic fuck. And he does it brilliantly. I mean, he played this role to honest perfection. And I know that sounds like melodramatic because this movie didn't get a great box office score or great necessarily reviews, but man, he sure did have a performance. I was super impressed with him.
Well, this movie, to be clear, it did get pretty good critic reviews. It got pretty good reviews actually all around. It got pretty good reviews all around. It just did not do very good at the box office. But yeah, like you said, he's a very good actor. He's a very good actor. A lot better than I think most people just assume because he's only done, he hasn't done too many movies where he has to really show his acting chops. But he definitely did in Thor Ragnarok. He definitely got emotional with his dad dying and whatnot. And he also did it again in Infinity War Part 2, Endgame. Yeah, he did. But yeah, he plays a very good, and he did a good job playing that cult leader where it's all cult leaders, but, they're all talk. Mm-hmm. And they do, and at one point they kind of break it down. At one point, she tells him that's all he is just all talk. Yeah, and that's really what cult leaders are. They're really, really good talkers. They can talk you into anything. And that's what Charles Manson, that's what they said about Charles Manson, is he could have been anyone that you needed him to be at that time. He could be anyone. But a lot better looking than Charles Manson. Let's say that.
By the 10th power.
I think he's kind of playing what people assumed. If you've never heard of Charles Manson, if someone just told you the story of Charles Manson, you would think this guy's the best looking, most charismatic. Really, Charles Manson was just this short, whiny, extremely whiny.
Really not the case at all.
No, not someone you would think you'd want to follow. But it was the 70s, man.
It was.
Everyone
People were following everyone.
No one was
they were
that good looking.
Everyone. They were doing drugs. They didn't.
Everyone was kind of weird looking.
Someone said they were God. You're like, okay.
Even the good looking people were just
kind of average.
Just very average. And even the average back then was like, oh, this guy's a fucking 10.
God. Yeah.
So they were willing to follow anyone. But yeah, he does he's the standout of this movie, right? By far, I think he is the standout, especially acting wise.
Well, and he set the tone too immediately when he walked in. Even that opening scene when they're walking through the rain and stuff and they're subduing. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but even that, like,
and they use him very well. Where he's not in it a lot.
No, he's not in the whole thing. No,
he's probably in it for 20 minutes at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
But his scenes are definitely, like I said, those are the scenes you remember for sure.
I got and I know this is a popular opinion, but I really did as well. Like, the first thing that caught my attention with this movie after the first death was like, holy crap, wow. That was very Quentin Tarantino. And even like the opening scene with Nick Offerman in the very first, that extended shot where he's like going through the hotel and doing all the different things and burying I was like, I really like this one shot. This
it does have kind of
very.
It does have kind of Tarantino vibes with. I mean, it's very story heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the whole thing is revolving around. Is this story and the characters, and that's what any Tarantino movie is the characters, and that's what this movie is too. It's all about the characters, and it might even be almost where they were building the characters up so much, which you have to, but that was like the first 3/4 of the movie was just all building the characters, which might have been
going with this movie too. There kept being flashbacks where we'd have to revisit the same thing over and over from a different perspective,
which might have ended up working against the movie.
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Because I feel like you had to have it, but they almost could have condensed it. I thought this movie could have been shorter, but only because, like, in those moments, they could have done the perspective from two people when John Hamm's, like, walking around. They could have done the perspective of both Darlene and Emily at the same time.
Because the first 2/3, it's building up just to get to that one moment. Mm-hmm. That one moment at the very end, where everyone eventually gets brought together. But yeah, so that might have been it didn't really hurt the movie for me, but I could see maybe where it hurt the movie for other people. Yeah, because a lot of people just didn't see this movie.
I know, it's so shocking and surprising. I just don't think the marketing was there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But Bad Times at the El Royale, what is it? In 1969, 7 strangers find themselves at the El Royale, a novelty hotel that is on the border of California and Nevada, but as the strangers, including a priest, a vacuum cleaner salesman, a southern gangster, a former singer, settle into their rooms, they discover that something strange is afoot inside and outside the hotel. Directed by Drew Goddard. He also directed Cabin in the Woods, a movie that I like very much, and also has Chris Hemsworth in it. But he also wrote and directed this movie, and stars Jeff Bridges as Daniel Flynn, the priest. Cynthia Erivo as Darlene Sweet. Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson does not get naked in this movie.
She does not.
Not very 50 Shades of Grey of her.
No.
Unfortunately. Hannah Zerk as young Emily, and John Hamm as Seymour Laramie Sullivan. He plays like Laramie, yeah. Laramie. He plays like a southern salesman, right? And it also has, like you said, Nick Offerman.
Yes.
It's got a lot of people.
It got Nick Offerman, but not for very long.
No, it's more of a cameo for sure.
And I'd say almost John Hamm is... That's one thing that I liked about this movie is it killed people I didn't expect them to kill right away.
Which, again, Tarantino-like. Mm-hmm. Where those side characters, where anyone could die at any point, is what I felt. Although the main characters do live.
They do, yes. Ironically enough. But you didn't know that they were the ones who were going to live until the third act, and then you kind of started to get an idea.
Well, because in this movie, you really don't. There really isn't a main character.
No,
I mean, I would say Darlene Sweet is probably the main character in my opinion, and that's not saying that she has more screen time than anyone because I think they're all divided.
Daniel Flynn had just as much. Or Jeff Bridges, whatever.
Yeah, if anything, her and Jeff Bridges
share a lot of screen time too. Yeah.
But again, it's something interesting where they're not. It's not one clear main character, because Dakota, what's her name? Dakota Johnson. She's probably just as much as main character too with her whole storyline and everything. But yeah, so the intro shows it goes back to like 1959 or something, right?
Yes.
And it shows Nick Offerman.
69 or 67 technically. Because remember they showed the...
well, it goes back 10 years at the start.
Oh, yeah. 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, 20 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. You're right. 10 years.
You're confusing me. You're just saying all these freaking... But yeah, 10 years. So it goes back 10 years. Shows Nick Offerman. Mm-hmm. He walks into the El Royale hotel, and he's like freaking out, right? He's got something going on. It's a very cool shot. And probably the best part of some of my favorite parts is how well the movie was shot and just how cool the hotel was and everything.
Well, and that's the scenic shot too of that. I really like that super wide shot they had in the hotel room where he's doing all the different bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And like it was one continuous shot of it all. And then when he opens the door, he gets blasted.
Yeah, he gets shot immediately through a shotgun through the chest. Mm-hmm. Pretty brutal. And it doesn't show who killed him though.
And we never got that question answered.
No, we have no idea. Because the
It
guy
could have been the third guy though.
That's what I assumed, but he didn't look for the money at all. I mean, we'll spoil alert. He didn't look for the money at all. He literally shot him and left.
That's true.
It was almost like, it even could have been the kid. The kid who plays the hotel or runs the entire thing. That kid's killed everyone. Yeah, that kid.
Miles Miller.
Yeah, that kid who was originally supposed to be played by Tom Holland.
Really?
Yeah, don't they kind of look similar?
Yeah, they do, kind of. What did he have to bail? Scheduling conflicts?
Yeah, he ended up not doing it for
probably for Spider-Man.
Russell Crowe was also supposed to play the priest originally.
Ooh, okay.
Until he got Jeff Bridges. Yeah, there's quite a few people that were.
But I thought Jeff Bridges had a really great performance in this.
Jeff Bridges is good in everything.
Yeah, everything.
The bluest eyes.
I know, no kidding. There were a few times where I was getting lost in those baby blues. I'm like, man.
Am I swimming in the ocean here, Jeffy? My God, dude. At some point, like, I don't know if it was...
that Billie Eilish song, Ocean Eyes.
Beanie Eyelash?
Yeah. Beanie Eyelash.
I did... At some point, I thought they were almost CGI. They were so goddamn blue. But I think it may have been the lighting in the hotel and everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it goes in and explains that the El Royale was like a really popular hotel, right? Until they lost their gambling license. Mm-hmm. So it goes fast forward 10 years after we see Nick Offerman get shot, his character.
Yes.
And this is where all the characters meet up. They're all staying at this hotel for a number of reasons. It just so happens that they all are here at the same time. Didn't really get into that, why they were all... Because the hotel is abandoned. It's no one there.
No one's
and
there.
And then 5...
And there's literally only 12 rooms in the whole place?
Yeah, and then 5 people just all show up at the exact same time. It's bad luck. It's bad luck for the other people. Because all these people...
Agatha Christie play, know, like everyone shows up on an island, murder mystery. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
That's almost exactly what it was, where it's like Clue-esque. But except then when that happens, like people get invitations and stuff. This one thing, there's nothing.
No invitations.
They're just here. It's just really bad timing for everyone.
Well, I would say they did answer it. They did answer it for a couple people. They answered it for Father Daniel Flynn because obviously he was coming for the money. They answered it for the FBI, John Hamm's character.
Well, it answered why they're all
FBI.
Well, it answered why they're all there, but it answered why they're all there at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, because they all had very specific motives, but I mean, would have been a lot easier if one of them went a week before and was there by themselves. Then someone else went a week after because they're all.
Like, I showed up yesterday. Yeah, and they meet Cynthia or whatever at the bar instead of.
Yeah. Except they all show up at the same hour.
The same minute.
Yeah, because they're all checking in at the same time. Yeah. Except it does say John Hamm. He's been there for a while. He's been, but so Father Flynn, played by Jeff Bridges, meets up with Darlene Sweet, and then they kind of introduce each other.
Her hotel room.
Yeah,
because he can hear her sing, right? And she thinks that she's being disruptive.
Yeah, well,
when
she first comes in, she comes in with like bedrolls and shit, so you're not really sure what's going on.
No, and they assume she was a
hooker, I guess.
Hooker, yeah.
That brings her own beds.
Very strange. A weird fetish. Like these guys are into extra foam.
Or just a hooker that really likes her sheets. She's got a particular, because she definitely brought in a lot of her own stuff, which is an odd thing because John Hamm immediately thinks she's a hooker.
I don't know why.
That's what they did back in the day. You got to bring your own.
Bring your pads.
Hookers bring your own furniture, I guess. It's pretty rough, but so they think she's a hooker, of course. So any lady with a blanket must be a hooker.
She's got to be one.
70s, you're either a housewife or a hooker. So
no in between.
You should. But yes, and Jeff Bridges, they meet, and they meet John Hamm, who John Hamm is always awesome. The characters in this are great.
They're really great. And I feel like we understand each of the characters too.
Yeah, almost
their
immediately
lives.
for sure.
Yeah.
When we first get the Jeff Bridges, he's like looking around, he's lost, right? Old man lost, typical. But we get John Hamm, and the bellboy, he's like they've been waiting for an hour or something. He's out doing heroin. You find out later.
Find out he had a real rough life.
Yeah,
123. It's quite a few.
Quit that goddamn job.
You got
Just
it.
quit.
I mean, at some
you're
point,
a bellboy. You
can't
be making great money.
I deserve a better life.
Yeah, and you're running the hotel at this point.
Yeah. It's a pretty big responsibility.
Yeah.
Not doing a very good job. The sheets have not been cleaned in weeks.
No, half the rooms you can't even go in.
This guy's doing heroin every 6 hours. I mean, he's zonked out on the fucking
Well, he's got to
couch.
do, because you give that hotel spiel, the whole thing, he's got to do every time.
Yeah.
He's got to explain it. That
he's got to step out and do the whole,
one side's Nevada, one side's California. And it's based off a real hotel.
It is.
The Cal Nevada?
Yeah, the one owned by
Sinatra, Dean Martin, and a mobster from Chicago all owned it at the same time. And that is
terrifying.
But that's the 60s, man. What a wild time. What a crazy, crazy time.
The Cal Neva Resort.
When, the Cal Neva. When, celebrities could be openly friended with criminals.
And no one thought anything different.
No.
No one thought anything wrong with it.
No, it's fun. It's wild, man. It's wild. And that's why I kind of that's why maybe I may have liked this movie more than some people. But I like that whole atmosphere of a hotel back then when all the celebrities would all go in one place and hang out. Mm-hmm. And it's real seedy and everything.
Oh, yeah. It's before the times, too, man. And that's what they say later on in the movie about trying to catch people in the act of doing crazy things. And that's why Miles had the camera down there, was to catch people.
Well, fuck, dude. He had a camera in every goddamn room.
He did.
We found out that
it's pretty creepy.
We found out that the El Royale isn't really a hotel. It's more of just it's a front of a hotel, but really just to catch people doing shit. Because I'm guessing, and they say at one point everyone that was anyone came here. All the A-listers, celebrities, politicians. Because again, back then, that's when everyone
place to bring prostitutes.
Yeah,
that's what they were catching them.
And
for.
one guy brought a wolf one time and slept with it.
And slept with the wolf.
Pretty sure fucked it.
Not quite. It was sexual, but it wasn't sexual. Remember?
That was
That's what the
the
guy said.
strangest story.
What kind of story is this?
And he was like, it was a wild wolf.
Something?
Like, how'd you even catch the wolf?
And the wolf is just being submissive, just laying in the bed, just.
He's like, this is weird.
This is a little strange. I haven't been in this predicament before.
I was in the forest 2 hours ago. Now I'm having to sleep with this guy.
Penetrating me.
Very odd.
Very uncomfortable. I do not feel okay about this.
Very strange.
I feel violated in more ways than one.
So it's a hotel where everyone's just a lot of bad shit happens, and they're just they're making records of all of it. They're keeping everything you do at this hotel. They're keeping record of it, which is not if you want to go to a hotel and do some bad shit. You don't really want a camera in your face. That's why you go to a hotel.
Exactly, is to get away from that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's why. Yeah. So the bellboy, he explains that to all of them. Eventually, they get their rooms. Jeff Bridges hears Darlene Sweet singing. She's got a beautiful voice.
Great voice.
Great set of pipes on her, like you wouldn't believe.
Very.
She's just racking out the tunes. And we find out that she has all those blankets because she was going to go. Cause she was just warming up.
Yeah,
for
she
a
was
show.
singing, for a show.
She was the only one that
Because
wasn't
her-
there for a specific reason, like at the hotel.
And you remember that other scene, too, with the producer boss, where he's like, I'm worth $500
Again,
an
the
hour."
producers, managers,
Oh, my. They're always assholes.
always British.
This guy reminded me of, like, an 11-year-old child, though. He's like, I make $500. How much money do you make? 12. See, I'm more important. I'm like, dude, this guy.
And again, that scene was weird to me. Where like I could not, like, why single her out?
For
The
no
song
reason.
sounded great.
I didn't have any problems with it. No
And
quarrels
then he's
there.
like, Darlene, get your ass over here.
You know what? I'm just pissed off.
Literally, all the women are singing the exact same. So why single her out? I don't understand. But it did show that
Very
she's just a backup singer. That's all she is, and she's trying to like make it big. But
She wants to be a lead.
That's the reason she's at the Royale. She has a show in Nevada, or she has a show in Reno the next day. So she's got to bring her blankets every hotel she does, so people don't complain and whatnot. Because
Got a bunch of complainers.
like, yeah, no, but does anyone ever care about what anyone else thinks at a hotel? Like, do you ever care about what the neighbor? I mean, the neighbors are always loud as shit.
They're always like.
They're either fucking or
And
they're...
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 7 times out of 10, you're hearing them fuck.
I would gladly take a beautiful angel singer than 2 people dealing drugs or fucking in the other side of the hotel. Because
Completely agree.
But she's very thoughtful. But Jeff Bridges does hear her, and
He's delighted.
yeah.
He's
She
very
thinks she thinks that he's gonna come over and say, "Shut that shit down."
Yeah, like I'm
Sick of
having none
hearing
of this. I'm an old man. I'm trying to sleep. I gotta.
But
pray to God
before that,
tomorrow
we gotta
morning.
make clear Jeff Bridges, he wanted a specific room, and she.
It was between 4 and 5. He didn't know which one to pick.
Yeah, of course. And we find out why later. Her name was just 50-50. He picked the wrong goddamn one.
Dang it.
Yeah. But, I mean, she doesn't want the room next to him. It's kind of awkward. But she makes it very clear that she does not want to bunk up next to a priest.
And that's because she knows. She knows the type of people.
Oh, yeah.
Those kind of people. The ones that pull one over people.
So they get their rooms. Jeff Bridges comes. He interrupts her. He asks her to go, or he asks her to want food.
Ask her to have a
Ask her
drink.
for food.
Yeah, for food.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's what it was, food.
Yeah. Because he said, because he kind of made up the lie. He's like, well, because for singing for me, I owe you a little something. Really, he just wanted to get her out of the room.
Of course.
Jeff Bridges this whole time is a little spacey, staring off. Not what you want to see from a guy that's coming back
Who's
from
wearing
a
the
long
cloth.
and that's coming back from a long road trip. So you don't want this guy driving. He doesn't know where he's at half the time.
No, he's delusional with that.
But again, the 60s.
Fun times.
Of course, we allow anyone to drive now. Have you seen the people on the road? It's chaos out there.
Pandemonium.
Absolutely, absolutely. You got to take these license away.
God, you have to.
You got
At some point.
It's not safe. But yeah, so they get a drink, and again, no one's at the hotel. No one. The kid, the bellboy's gone.
He's doing
Miller.
heroin somewhere.
Still doing heroin.
Yes.
Yeah, he's doing heroin. He's got a lot of problems.
And I like this scene too because it was very character building for me for both of them, where they're kind of building this relationship.
Yeah.
You know, they have that sweet moment where they talk about the sandwiches and they're like, "How you feeling lucky?" And they look at the sandwiches, they're like, "Not that lucky."
Yeah,
How about
I liked
pie?
a lot
You
of
know,
those
they're
things.
getting pie and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's very traditional. The 60s retro. I really like that. I like the set design of it too. It was like the
Dude, the
quarter
hotel is
thing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
The hotel, it looks like something that's right out of the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Like something you would see for sure somewhere where all these celebrities and politicians would hang out and mingle and whatnot. Because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere and it's on the border. So California, you're allowed to drink alcohol. In Nevada, you're allowed to gamble. Best of both worlds.
Let's
Let's
mix
mix that
you
shit up.
can't mix it. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
I'm
you
sure
gotta
people were
drink in
mixing that.
California.
Yeah, let's be
and
honest.
gamble
You
in-
know, people were crossing
course.
lines, crossing state lines.
Especially with one hotel employee.
Oh,
Bitch, please. I'm going to put my palm right in your face. I'm going to push you away and say, I'm going to do both.
But like you said, the
Call
set,
times.
the hotel is awesome because they do a really good job of using colors too. California
Yes.
side's all bright yellows and oranges.
Oranges.
Nevada's kind of that darker red and blues, and they use that very well. And then that just thick, bright red line right in the middle, you know, separating California from Nevada. And I like the
funny
part.
too. I liked Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was just gonna say the whole time, and because this movie, how we're kind of talking about it may not seem, but it's a thriller, almost kind of bordering a horror.
Mhm.
The entire time it's very tense, even from the very start when the bellboy sees Flynn, the priest,
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges. He's like, Mary freaks out. He's like, "Oh, you can't be here."
Yeah, he goes, "This is not a good place for you."
Yeah,
this is not a good place for
yeah,
you.
and he's like, "You cannot
father."
stay here," and he's even trying to find him another hotel to stay. Which
Yeah, and
that's
then
the first thing, and that's
or the Ritz Carlton or whatever was booked.
yeah, and that's something you probably don't want to hear right before you're about to book a room. This guy begging
Not
you.
the greatest
Yeah.
salesman alive.
No.
I'd say, yeah, no.
But yeah, so the whole time it's kind of, you get this mystery of right at the start. It's like this, you immediately know it's more than just a hotel, right? There's something sinister
Some
going
sort
on.
of mystery.
Where at the
behind it.
start, where the first time I watched it, I was thinking maybe it could be something almost borderline paranormal or something, where it's like,
Really, you thought it might go that direction?
I thought it could be too, where it was like almost a euphemism for heaven and hell, like they're in some kind of purgatory or limbo, and now they're waiting. Where like one side's California, and they're all kind of meeting up here to be judged or whatever right before they go to.
That'd be a good concept. Good idea.
Yeah, it could have went either way, but it's definitely more of a people story than that. But yeah, it goes but it is kind of the entire time it's dark. You know, people are always getting murdered. The first 5 seconds we see someone get shot in the chest.
Yeah, pretty gruesomely too.
Yeah, but then we get
There's a lot of blood, a lot of guts in this.
Oh yeah, John Hamm. So he goes back. So he keeps cutting forward to characters back and forth. John Hamm, he goes to his room. We find out not a vacuum salesman.
Not at all.
Pretty quickly,
No.
of course.
Of course he wasn't.
No one was really a vacuum salesman.
He's too conspicuous looking.
He pulls
He's
out.
got cop written all over him.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But a great Southern accent he was doing, so that might throw you off the
Very
trail.
charming too.
But
In a very douchebaggery kind of way.
he starts taking all shit out. He's got a fake vacuum. He pulls out a briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts going, and he starts finding all these fucking bugs.
And he
there's-
found a ton
oh my
of bugs.
god, dude! Every government agency in the world must have been bugging this hotel.
God, the most popular place on the face of the planet.
Yeah,
The
because
El Royale.
he finds like 50 bugs, and then we find out that he is working for a government agency.
He's working for the FBI, and that only a half of those bugs were theirs.
Yeah.
The other half were from someone else.
Yeah, which
or
is
something.
it's an insane amount of bugs, even for one group of people, because it's like 80 bugs.
Yeah.
Usually 3 bugs does it. Like, why do you have bugs in like the curtains? You got everywhere. I mean, that must have been the best sounding room of all time. This has been crystal clear audio when you're
Right.
listening to people.
You just you put all the audio clips together, and you have your perfect rendition of whatever you need.
But that's what I mean. You assume all the rooms are like. Bugs, they're all got two-way fucking mirrors. I mean, they're all just incredibly, again, all just for blackmail. Whoever's running this hotel is obviously like a mob or something like that.
And they make good money, I bet.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So he's there, he's debugging everyone. He calls like his boss or something, and they tell him.
Which is Edgar Hoover.
Yeah,
J. Edgar Hoover.
Edgar Hoover. So, I mean, he must have been high up. Because J. Edgar
Of course,
Hoover,
yeah. If he's giving you the call and he's giving you the do not interfere order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
pretty
man,
high up.
what a job if he had to go room to room debugging everything, he's gonna be there for a fucking while.
He'll be there a while.
And he had to tear apart that room.
He tore apart his room.
Yeah, to get all
and
those
that was
bugs.
the suite, remember? Because he
That
was
was the honeymoon
adamant on
suite,
having
yeah.
the suite.
Oh yeah, for sure. So maybe it was just the honeymoon suite that was that bugged.
Maybe
'Cause
because that's
I
where the
didn't
video
think about
came
because
from later.
he made it very clear that he wanted the honeymoon suite, and that obviously
And the
was
fact
why.
that half the bugs were in that one.
Yeah.
In the honeymoon suite. So
But yeah, so we find that out, and he also finds out because he's super suspicious about everything now because there's so many goddamn bugs here. And he finds out that the mirrors are all two-way also, right?
because he went up to the hotel desk, the guy wasn't there, so he went through the door into the
Yeah.
back, opened the guy's Miles' door. He's strung out on heroin. He's passed out.
Yeah.
So John Hamm goes on a little adventure.
And every fucking room has a two-way mirror. Every single one. It's
single
a
room.
giant hall, which is kind of cool if you're a pervert. And if you're making that kind of hotel, it's kind of cool.
Pervert's paradise is what we call that.
If you're making that kind of hotel, it's kind of cool.
It's
perfect.
The pervert's paradise.
It's perfect for sure. Yeah.
It goes together. We'll just call it the PP.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if that sounds...
Pervert's paradise? PP? No? Okay. I thought it was clever. Maybe not.
So, yeah, but he goes back there to the halls, and everyone has got a two-way mirror. And he goes to Dakota Johnson's room. Dakota Johnson, she rolled up in like some sick fucking Camaro or something like that.
And I love how everyone in this movie just does not care at all. They just leave their doors wide open.
It's 70s, man.
They
Yeah.
shoot someone, dead body, doors wide open. They kidnap someone, beating the crap out of them, dragging them out of the trunk, doors wide open.
That was a better time when people were just like, just mind your own business.
It's not
like,
my
you'll be
concern.
fine. Like if you saw,
concern.
like if you were walking, you saw someone get murdered, you just assume, well, that'll be taken care of.
Someone will eventually come around and take care
Now
of
they
this.
expect us all to be heroes. We all got to call 911. Right. We all got to.
If we pull out our cell phone and record someone, we're the bad guys?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We all got to do CPR.
What am I supposed to do? Help?
Yeah.
I'd rather record, on my phone.
I'd rather just pretend it didn't happen.
Just walk
Sweep
past
it under the rug like everyone
when
did.
Someone gets in a car accident in front of you and you're like, I didn't see this. A little fender bender because you got to stay. Not that I've ever done that, but I've heard people have done that. And that is very wrong. You must stay because you are a witness.
So, yeah, shit like that I can see you leaving. But seeing someone get murdered...
You should probably stay
Speak
around.
up.
Yeah, you should probably just stick around for the extra 15 minutes.
Yeah, no. See how this plays out. See how this plays out.
Someone's life,
people
unfortunately,
are going to be wanting to know what's
people
going on.
want answers.
Yeah, that's a little more important for sure. But yeah,
I think it's more on the scale.
So he goes all throughout, and it's pretty cool the way they shot it because he goes all throughout the halls and he's like flipping on the sound, going back and forth. Again, kind of creepy. It's actually very creepy because again, you don't know what kind of hotel this is. And even someone being from the FBI, like we know John Hamm's character is, he was fucking surprised. He was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, he thought this was crazy. He thought it was bonkers. He was like, what the hell is this?
Because it does look like. And then, again, first time watching it, you're thinking, do they just murder people here? Like this could just be just one big murder house.
Like that one, No Vacancy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where they
just
they were
murder people
filming
in the hotel
everyone, and they were making like snuff films or whatever. That's what I thought they were gonna get at. But yeah, so he's walking through and he's flipping and he goes to Dakota Johnson's room and she sees she's tying someone up. A girl. She's like in the middle of bringing someone out of her car and she's tying someone up. That's weird.
She got a long rifle too, shotgun.
Yep. So that's a little weird. He goes to the next room. It's the girl singing. This is before, because again, it's showing flashbacks. This is before Bridges came and got her out of her room. She's singing. He flips out on, goes to another room, and he sees Jeff Bridges, who's tearing up all the floorboards. So he must be thinking, what the fuck is going on?
This is the craziest hotel of all time. This old priest is tearing up a floor. This chick's singing at the top of her lungs.
Yeah.
And there's a kidnapping in the room 3. What in the fuck?
Did I go to the wrong hotel? Am I in some backwards world?
Craziest ass night of my life.
And not even that, but I'm in the middle of debugging this entire room, and now I got to do all this insane shit on top of that. It's nuts. It's crazy.
You'll be asking yourself, like, what is going on here?
So he calls old J. Edgar back.
He goes, listen, boss. Listen.
He's like, I got all kinds of other shit going on.
Yeah.
And even J. Edgar is like, what the fuck, a kidnap?
Like, I do not give a fuck. He goes, stick to the objective. Do not interfere.
Yeah, you're not there. I assume every hotel is in the middle of someone getting kidnapped or murdered, or anytime you see a motel.
You're not Superman. Do your fucking job.
I know.
Do your job. It's not that hard.
But John Hamm, being the good character he is, and unfortunately, it does end up being an actually really good guy. Because at the start, he's a dick.
Guy. Yeah.
And no one likes him, because that's kind of the character he's playing.
He's just playing a character there.
Then he ends up being the hero. And it doesn't work out for him.
Yeah.
Again, should have minded his own business. And we also find out earlier that he has kids and everything.
He does. He was reading or going over the Lord's Prayer with his little girl right before he was shot in the chest.
And again, that's the 60s/70s where anybody could be anyone.
And what's the moral of the story? Mind your own business.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, you could think your dad's a mailman. Really, he's been working for the FBI your entire life. And you had no idea. You never know I
never
feel
know the
like I would
difference.
know immediately if my dad wasn't doing what he said he was doing. This,
Yeah, my
again,
mom-
mind your own business. No one asked, so no one knew.
No.
I'm sure his wife had no fucking clue what was going on.
None at all. She's just like 3-day trip, mailman, training convention,
Yeah.
1968, New York.
You're out of
Okay.
town all the time, and you're a butcher. I don't care. You
Works
could
for
be doing
me.
more butcher.
A little off topic, but it has to do with Charles Manson, kind of. But you look at all the serial killers in the 60s and 70s, the wives were just like, oh, yeah, he was out doing this and that. They
Oh,
were
yeah.
so oblivious to everything.
No one ever knows.
So it's definitely.
Everyone's.
it's
I
definitely
had no. He was the nicest guy. You never know.
Never would have
You
expected.
never would have guessed. And then it's like, yeah,
Yeah, you could.
they were showing all the signs.
He literally killed 30 people. How did you not
There's
see
so
this
many
coming?
serial killers where you'll hear about where like people got abducted, got away, and
they're
people
like-
still didn't believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You're like, okay, mind your own
Oh,
business.
right. Let's take it down.
Yeah,
Drama queen.
you're being dramatic.
Abducted. You got away.
abducted.
Really.
I think you were being a whore. We're gonna do that. Yeah.
Yep, that's what they used to
You
do.
should
They
have been
used
in
to
the
shame
house.
all the
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you shouldn't have been out after a certain time.
Yeah, it's all your fault. No, yeah, you couldn't do anything. So, John Hamm, being the good guy, he breaks down that fucking door.
He does.
After trying to get. Well, first he.
Tries to talk to her.
Well, first
She tells her to piss off.
First, J. Edgar tells him that no one can leave. Now,
Oh yeah.
which
So
is a
yeah,
huge
he's
job
getting
to tell
crazy.
someone. Yeah.
It's like no
J.
one
Edgar.
can. That's
We
a
can
hell
do
of a responsibility for one FBI.
Well, no one was much more crazier than old J. Edgar.
agent.
But yeah, so he was telling him for J. Edgar, who said don't get involved in anyone, but make sure no one leaves.
Mhm.
Well, do you want us to not get involved, or do you want
Do you
me
want
to
us-
do my
yeah.
goddamn job? Now I got to make sure everyone stays here. They're gonna be wondering. There's only 6 people, no doubt.
Why are all the cars broken down?
Okay, who did this? There's
We
5
all-
of us
yeah,
here.
We
Let's
all have the
figure
same
this out.
problem. with What's going
Whose
on?
car is still working? Who's the only car that's running right now?
He's like, crap, I forgot to do my own car. Like, yeah, it's clearly you. Now we're going to have to kill you.
Yeah, so
That's how that movie would have shooken out if had Dakota Johnson not killed him.
no.
So,
But yeah, he tries to talk to her, because again, he thinks she's kidnapping someone. He tries to diffuse the situation, I'd say. She's not going for it. Obviously, she's not going to open the fucking door.
no. And this is kind of where we find out that they're sisters, too. We find out right before, because she's like, Rose, you're my sister. We got to get away from him. He's the bad guy, but we don't know who he is yet.
No, they just keep talking about him.
Him. Yeah.
And they keep saying that, like, or Rose keeps saying he's coming or whatnot, and what. So again, kind of freaking you out.
Yeah,
you
a
know,
little
this
bit.
boogeyman's coming.
The Babadook.
Yeah. So he knocks down the door, though. He fucking clocks Dakota Johnson.
Right in the face.
You got that's
Looked like it hurt.
that's a 1950s woman hit. You don't see men hit women
And
like
you know
that.
what? She took it like a champ.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She didn't get knocked out. I would have been knocked out.
Well, we learned that she's been beaten quite a bit in
Yeah,
this
her whole
movie.
life.
Yeah.
Well, from her father too, and that's who she tried to protect Rose from. And
Rose
man,
was a
that got,
bitch. It turns out.
but what the trauma made sense. And that's what I appreciated about that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
understood Rose's perspective because that's who Dakota Johnson.
But still very naive. Where Dakota Johnson's character, she was able to say, "Oh, this guy's kind of crazy." But of course, that's how it is in cults.
Well, right, and Rose was the small one when her dad was,
Yeah.
doing all that messed up stuff to her. So it kind of just fucked with her head.
I know.
She kind of stayed.
But
as that
Emily,
child.
who's Dakota Johnson, was literally the only one who protected her
Tried to.
entire life.
Mhm.
And then she immediately just says, "Oh, fuck you. I'm staying with Thor over here."
But you have to look at that and you have to go, okay, cult leader who looks like Chris Hemsworth.
Well, yeah,
she's
that's what I'm saying. He's beautiful.
18,
He's-
19-year-old girl, and this guy is oogling
Yeah.
over you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's
you
cold
can't
mentality.
blame
Yeah.
Rose. You can't blame her for falling in love because this is probably her first romance.
I blame everyone for getting into a cult. You just gotta figure it out. I feel like I would know. I've never been in one personally. You know I haven't.
I've been
I've been trying.
I've been in 3.
I can't get into them. I'm trying.
They're
to-
tough, dude.
Yes.
I mean, you gotta
People
take a
can't get
number and
out. I
sit
can't
for a
get
few-
into
yeah,
one.
it's really
People are
hard.
begging to get out of them. I
They
mean,
are.
I'm putting myself out there on the line every day, trying to get myself
There's
drafted.
an event next weekend if you want to go. It's Cults for Us.
I think I'm
so
too eager. It's like UFOs, man. You're never gonna be abducted if you want it. It's always the people that don't want to
Don't
get
want it,
abducted, and
yeah.
they'll freak the fuck out.
You're like, really? Calm down.
You're never
Look, that's my dream.
If you're out
okay?
wandering around the woods, you're not going to get abducted. Man, trust me, I do it all the time.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so John Hamm knocks her this shit out.
Yeah.
Starts
untying Rose.
Kind of dead giveaway. Rose not really freaking out or anything when he's untied.
She doesn't
She's
seem to care
very
at all.
calm.
She's literally just sitting there looking at him like,
yeah.
This happens every week, my friend.
Exactly.
I'm used to this.
He's untying her. He's saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get you out. We're gonna be okay." Big shotgun blast.
Yeah, well, she tells Rose to step away from John.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hold on, let me, boom, shoots him. Of course, he's lined up perfectly with the glass, with the two-way mirror.
Yeah, it's not good if you're a pervert.
Not good. Not good. Especially not good for Miles, who was perverting at the time.
He was.
Watching like a little creep.
He was. But we find out he wasn't doing anything weird at that moment, which usually he probably,
He probably was, yeah.
Well, come on. You're in a hotel, fucking mirrors. It's a fun house. You tell me you're not gonna be. He's the only one goddamn person working there at this point.
Very true.
You're not gonna get. And what are you gonna do with that?
Tough.
You're doing heroin. You're sitting at the front desk all day. You're gonna take a gander. You're gonna see what's going on.
Yeah. How do you not?
But yeah, so she shoots John Hamm. Dakota Johnson does. Some ricochet gets into old Miles.
Hits him right in the face. Yeah. Unfortunately, this guy has had a string of bad luck, I would say, since conception.
Well, this whole time, man, he just wants forgiveness, and no one will give him forgiveness. He's begging for it, and no one will give him forgiveness.
No one will give him sympathy or forgiveness.
No. But yeah, so he gets a face full of buckshot. John Hamm, he's down for the count. Unfortunately, he's not recovering from this one.
I would say all the bullets went through him. The remaining hit Miles in the face.
I would say Miles probably needs to go get checked out because whatever John Hamm had
is now
in
definitely in him. So let's hope he didn't have any diseases.
Yeah.
Bloodborne pathogens.
Well, you're talking about that HIV.
The HIV, or
it wasn't
the measles or something.
It was the 60s/70s, so HIV wouldn't have been too prevalent back then. So Miles was probably
he's in the clear.
I'd say so, though. So Miles gets shot again. It flashes back. We get that flashback back to old Bridges. He's with the singer. They kind of have a moment together. They're finally kind of
at the bar,
defusing at the bar, and when they're sitting down drinking pie, talking about music.
Talking about pie,
because that's when
eating pie, I should say.
Yeah, talking about pie, eating pie. You got to do both. But Bridges, he admits that his mind isn't all right. That he's basically he has dementia, and he's starting to forget things. And they kind of have a heart-to-heart. She talks about how she's a singer and how she loves it. Yada, 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 that whole bit. And
softening him up. That's what he was doing.
And Bridges, he goes and he's making both of them a drink.
Because she finally agrees to one.
She does. A hot toddy. And he puts a little something extra. Gives her a little bit that Bill Cosby potion. That the Cosby politics.
Dude, okay, Cosby. Did you see what he tweeted out?
Yeah, hilarious.
Okay. Good.
Guy's still funny.
Happy Father's Day. Hey.
He still says he's America's dad.
That also rapes women in their sleep.
Yeah, if your dad raped a lot of women, then maybe he's your dad, and maybe you live in some kind of crazy house of 1,000 corpses family where your dad is raping everyone. But he's not my dad.
Not mine either. But anyhow,
he still thinks he's doing great.
So the whole Daniel Flynn, Father Flynn.
Yeah, he gives her a little Cosby. Gives a little Spanish fly. She's smart about this though.
She is
much smarter.
She takes off her heels too and sneak attacks him.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
She knows immediately something. As soon as she hears that file, she's up there. What the fuck's going on? I've been drugged before, brother. This ain't happening. I guess it only needs to happen once, and then you're fucking on your toes about it. But yeah, she smashes that. And the first time watching it, did that surprise you, that bottle smash?
It did.
I saw it in the theater, and I actually jumped because it literally comes out of nowhere. You're not expecting it at all. She doesn't end up getting drugged because she's fucking...
hit him before.
And a guy who's got dementia...
He sure can take a punch. He sure can.
Probably not too good to be taken. Your brain's already pretty battered,
probably more CTE damage.
Yeah, you don't want to be taking too many hits. Yeah. But he does. He takes it like a champ. she ends up getting the fuck out of there trying, right? She immediately starts freaking
And
out.
that's when we kind of see the flashback-esque thing where she's running out. She's trying to start her car, but she finds she's hiding in the corner and sees that John Hamm's character goes over there and pulls out her starter kit.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell it is. Something on the
It's a
engine.
starter. Yeah, I
Starter,
think so. Yeah. He just pulls all of those out and they don't work. But yeah, and she sees that and she's still trying to get away. Like she goes in.
She still goes into her car, tries to start it.
Car, yeah.
Yep.
So she's hiding there, and at this point, it's raining a lot, which is important when Chris Hemsworth comes.
Yeah.
Because we gotta get that
soaking wet T-shirt.
Oh yeah, baby. But yeah, so and it goes at this point. Does it do the flashback of? Does it show the flashback of Donald O'Kelly? Does it show who the priest really is?
No, not yet.
That's later on.
No, this is when she's in the car. She's freaking out. She's panicking. She's watching John Hamm. He goes to the door, to the hotel door, kicks in the door, and then she witnesses him getting murdered. And then as soon as Dakota Johnson and Emily and Rose, go in, she sneaks up there and tries to find information on him and going through the body.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And then so what happens after that? After she goes through the body,
she gets the starter back.
Oh yeah,
out of his pocket.
Yeah, because he carries all the starters around. He should have thrown them away.
Yeah, not the smartest move. I mean, again, they do a little bit of Scooby-Doo detective work here.
Yeah,
They're
for sure.
going to catch the culprit. It's just going to happen.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
guy's not the greatest criminal in the world, especially for working for the FBI. You figured you'd have a little bit more smart.
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit more.
Oh yeah, for sure. But she goes back in her car, tries to get started, and then
the priest comes up there.
Yeah, he's not doing
and
so
she
hot.
pulls that gun so fast. I thought she was going to shoot him right then and there.
So did I.
That
She
was a good
should have,
scene,
honestally.
yeah, she should have.
You think this guy's drugging you? Why the fuck
would've.
are you
That
letting
was
him
the
in your
first
car?
Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, she let him.
It was a
in
bold
her
move
car.
on Bridges' part, to be honest.
He was rolling the dice there. But he was gambling.
Yeah, but of course she did kind of like it. But then again, he was going to drug her. So
he was going to drug her. If
Yeah.
someone tried to drug me, I don't care the explanation.
You got to assume you're about to be raped.
I'm going to shoot you in the face.
For sure.
I'm going to shoot you in the face. Second time I get a chance to see you, I'm going to fucking shoot you. Period.
But he ends up not getting shot in the face. She
No, he does
manages not to blow him away, luckily. And they end up talking, and he explains
The real story.
the real story. His real name is Donald O'Kelly, and everyone calls him Doc.
Doc. Yes.
And him and his brother, we find out his brother was old
Nick Offerman.
Old Nick Offerman, yeah. And we find out that they about 10 years ago, probably a little more than 10 years ago, they robbed a bank.
Yep.
To get away, they had to split up. Jeff Bridges had to go take his own truck or whatever, so his brother would get away. Doesn't work out for him. He gets caught, sent to jail immediately. But his brother does get away. Goes to the old El Royale, tells him he's going to stay in room number 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he's going
But
to
he
hide the
couldn't
money.
remember if it was 5 or 4. But yeah, he ended up telling him it was 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
the money ended up being.
The whole reason that the bank job was botched was because the guy, I think,
shit the bed with the car, and
Yeah.
which was kind of funny running theme in that scene.
it was
where he
because
like,
everyone that ran up,
dude,
like,
this guy, what the hell are you
do
doing?
you know how to
Do you
drive?
know how to
Everyone
drive?
came up and said, "Do you know how to drive?"
I love how like nonchalant they were in the '60s about robbing shit too. They're just sitting there like relaxing because they
Oh,
know the
yeah.
cops aren't going to show up right away. They don't even have like
Well, the fastest of those
radios.
cop cars are 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You got an hour before.
Top it out.
Oh yeah, they're really they're relaxed. They're not really sweating at all. And the truck wouldn't even start. They're freaking out. But yeah, I know. And I thought it was gonna be a much bigger thing of that guy, that idiot driver. But we really never
saw him again.
I thought that for sure, at least he was gonna be the one who ended up killing Nick Offerman. But we never got into that at all.
No, it didn't get into
Which
it
was-
at
yeah.
all. It's a complete mystery who killed him.
It might have been. I can see that might have been. They might have had to cut that out of the movie or something.
Well, probably. I mean, this movie's already sitting at 2 hours and 21 minutes.
Yeah, which is long for a movie that
Very long.
they look like they didn't put much effort into promoting or anything
no,
like
not
that.
at all.
But yeah, so she admits, or tells her that, and they agree to split the money if they want to do that, because he tells her that you're in the wrong room, and that was the only reason I was drugging you. He even says, I didn't want to diddle you. Don't be weird. Don't be weird about this.
Yeah. She's like, well, what would you do in my shoes?
Yeah, I would
He's
have
like,
shot his ass.
Well, yeah. First off, I would have shot the old white dude, the old crazy guy. But on second thought,
oh, yeah.
You're going to split the money with me.
Split it. You got it. She needed the money. And before this, Dakota Johnson and her sister, Emily and Rose, they ended up Dakota, she found the tunnels in the back because she ended up going into the mirror and finding all the tunnels and everything like that. And
so she's kind of surveying.
And she finds,
wants to know all
and she
the people in the
finds,
hotel.
or she talks to the busboy. Because he's not dead. He just took the shots in the face.
Right. She's got him tied up.
Yeah, she ties him up. They're in the lobby now at this point, and she wants to know what's going on because, she wants to know why this is like a pervert hotel. She even says that it is a pervert hotel. And he basically says, yeah, it is. There's some crazy shit's going on. And this whole time, this whole thing's kind of centered around this one reel of tape that everyone's trying to get their hands on.
What was your guess? Because I'll tell you mine.
I'm almost positive I know who it was about and whatnot.
Mine is JFK.
I think it was Bobby Kennedy. Because at this point, JFK was already killed. It's 1969.
But they said that. He was already dead. The guy in the film was dead already.
Oh, yeah, they did say that. Yeah, so, they say...
Kennedy was known to get around, too.
But Kennedy was also president, and they keep calling this guy senator. Kennedy would have been president by then, and they keep saying there's a senator.
He would have been dead by then.
Yeah, he would have been dead, but they would think they would have kept saying there's a president on this tape because they keep calling him senator. Because the whole thing he ends up going back and saying, yeah, a senator came in and beat the living shit out of this lady because they keep still calling him senator. So why not call him president? Because he would have been president.
Yeah, by then, would have been assassinated.
So that was my thinking that it would have been Bobby Kennedy. Because, but Bobby Kennedy would have been, I'm not sure when
Bobby's
Kennedy
Robert, right? Kennedy?
Yeah.
Bobby Robert, yeah.
He died later on also. Got murdered, obviously.
Well, what was that one movie about the Kennedy, about the car rolling over? Or
I don't
going
know.
Into the lake
I know what
or
you're talking about.
whatever?
That was the one that recently came out?
Yeah.
The one with the guy from Pet Sematary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chappaquiddick.
Chappaquiddick, because that's where they're like the town they're from or whatever. Yeah. Well, that's about them covering up the murder after.
The murder of it, after the fact.
Yeah, the Kennedys got a crazy.
Yeah, they got a crazy life
They're
story,
horrible people,
family
actually.
Story.
Yeah. Only Catholic to ever be president. Probably the only Catholic to ever be president.
Probably nowadays.
JFK,
I'd say the church is now looked. It's
well, they were very surprised when he was elected. A lot of people said a Catholic would never be president because it is mostly our country is mostly Lutheran and Christian. Yeah. But yeah, so the whole thing is they have this tape that would be very, very bad to anyone if it got out. And they say that sometimes, this was a quote that I really liked, it kind of stuck with me. They say sometimes the memory, what does they say? The memory is more important than the actual man. Yeah. Because the man was a piece of shit. But you can tell everyone he was a great man. Can you tell him his memory was great? Because you're not going to shit on a guy that's dead already. Unless a video comes out of him being the shit out of a hooker. And then again, it's the Kennedys. I still don't think it would have been that big of a deal.
Maybe not.
They would have glossed over it.
Would have found a way out of it.
For sure.
They're the best
Kennedys. They literally kill people and get people out of it. But yeah, so the whole thing that's going around, and they have footage of that. But Miller, not the bus boy, I keep saying that, but the bellboy. He's saying that he never gave his bosses the tape.
Because he was the only person that was ever nice to him.
Only person, yeah. But the guy was an asshole.
To everyone else.
Yeah. And that hooker.
And the hooker, apparently. But because he was nice to him, he felt so good about that he decided, we'll give this guy a pass on beating this girl to a pulp.
Yes.
Where she had to stick her own stocking in her mouth to stop the bleeding.
Horrible, yeah.
Jeez.
And again, I love all that. I don't love that the hooker got beat up, but I love all that secretness of those just kind of the seedy world of all these politicians and everything. I love learning about that and like the FBI and how FBI knew about all this stuff the entire time, and they use it and they just let it keep going because eventually they need it. I mean, they need to use it against you, so they let all that shit out.
That's politics.
Yeah,
that's how it is, man. It's dirty. It's dirty as fuck.
But yeah, so at this point, Rose is on the phone. She's calling everyone, telling everyone what's going on. She gets a hold of old
Billy
Lee.
Billy Lee.
She tells him where they're at. Tells him they're at the El Royale. Billy's
ecstatic.
He's like, oh,
pretty happy.
I'm coming for you, baby.
Come on my way.
I'm
not doing much else.
I'm getting there. Yeah, you're my
just
gal.
waiting for your call, actually.
Which is not good. And then Rose starts talking. She's like, well, he'll be here. And then she keeps talking about it. And then eventually the sister catches on. She's
Finally.
like, who's going to be here?
Like, who are you talking about? Like, yo, you should have asked that, like, literally 3 hours ago.
Yeah, because she keeps saying it. Because what do they say? I can't remember her exact words, but it's like, he'll decide what happens to you guys. She keeps saying that.
It's not up to, it's not
and at one point,
it's not even up to me.
It's because they tie Miller up, and he says, don't kill me. And she says, well, it's not up to me. It's up to him. And then eventually, Emily, to Coach John, she's like, what the fuck? Him? What are you talking about? She's like, oh, Billy Lee, he's coming. And oh, boy, is he coming. And we get that flashback of Billy Lee, and we figure out who he is.
Mm-hmm. That cult scene, too, which I thought was a very powerful, impactful scene that literally told you all you needed to know in one scene.
Well, they did a very good job of capturing that cult leader mentality of
exactly
all cultists do is, and I'm no expert, but I'm very interested in it, but all cultists do is they pin you against each other. I mean, that was the whole thing. And
then you force them to love each other right afterwards.
Well, yeah, but really you force them to love you, to love him, right? Because they're all fighting for him. They're fighting against each other. Yeah. So if everyone's enemies, then everyone's going to be your ally. Because if they're all fighting each other, then they're not fighting you.
Exactly.
So keep them fighting. It's what everyone does. It's also what politicians do.
This is true.
So keep them fighting and you keep them busy. But yeah, I really like that scene where he made him do a little Fight Club action, and it showed you how willing they're willing to do anything for him, and it shows that he is pretty much exactly Charles Manson, because later on in the TV we find out there was a series of murders happening
in Malibu too. Yeah, and they were definitely trying to tie that, because I mean Malibu, Sharon Tate and them, where were they killed? Wasn't it in Malibu as well?
I think it was actually Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills, that's right.
All very similar. I mean, all same.
I mean, Malibu's a nice place too.
Well, yeah.
Those houses anyway, right off the beach. Ugh.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, but that's where the cult's kind of hanging out, is around Malibu and everything, and that's where those murders happen. And it's not. They're not. I can't remember the name of the people. It's not Tates. I mean, they're not that on the nose, but it's something similar. And we figure out that there was a series of murders, and then Emily got her sister Rose out. She kidnapped her, brought her back to the El Royale.
Trying to save her.
Yep. Now, Billy Lee loves her sister. Loves old Boots, he calls her.
Yeah, Boots, yeah. Very, very odd name.
Yeah. And I love that. I love their first meeting.
On the shores.
On the shore. Because, again, they did a good job of showing what a real cult leader, I think, would look like. Especially back then, you know.
Oh, of course, 60s,
they
70s,
always
that's
and
exactly
they always
what they
and they always will. They know me. They always pick up on the people that have no one. Mm-hmm. I mean, because then they're willing to do anything to say they're your family. They're willing to kill people. Yep. They'll kill anyone. That we'll find out. But yeah, so Billy Lee, he's on the way. Billy Lee shows up. Oh, he's a man of his word. He's got some followers with him. They're just as crazy. Again, it's soaking wet. Oh, just
soaked to the brim,
soaked to the bone.
This guy,
and he rolls out, and he is just dripping. He's got beads of moisture coming off him.
That he does.
And he walks in that hotel, and you're just willing to give him
anything he wants.
Credit card number, social security,
yeah,
anything he wants. And we find out he's a sadistic son of a bitch. He's really just crazy, right? And again, like Charles Manson, he's a
charismatic but crazy.
So he's kind of takes over everything. He circles or gathers everyone around, everyone that's left. Bridges, Sweet, the lady, the singer, Darlene, Emily, Rose, and Miller.
And Miller, yep.
Somehow the bellboy is still kicking. He's been shot in the face at this point. He's got a head full of heroin. He's having the worst trip of his goddamn life. Let's
put it that way. And he also survived Vietnam.
Yeah, we find out he's killed 123 people. Yes. Which I'm guessing that it wasn't just in Vietnam.
And I'm guessing it probably wasn't in one day either.
No. I'm guessing he's probably killed quite a few people at the hotel, too. I'm guessing they probably hired him for his skills.
Yeah, he's probably working for the FBI.
And there's a reason
that secret organization.
Well, he's definitely working for the seedy
hotel.
Whoever the fuck owns them, it's probably the Illuminati or whatever. I mean, who knows? The lizard people. But he's working for them, and it's cool because in my mind they probably went and got him because he's a killer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they know he needed the work or whatever. And that's obviously why the only person that he stuck around. And I mean, no one else didn't keep anyone else on. And you got to be able to rely on him. He's not telling anyone. But yeah, he's killed 123 people. We get a flashback. He was a sniper in Vietnam, just picking people off.
And that scene was funny because it was kind of corny, but it was also okay.
Yeah.
In its weird way, because I was like, I don't know, because they're on that hillside, and I'm like, man, if you're a sniper, you just don't stand like that in the middle of the...
And it's no one's shooting at him or anything.
No one's shooting at him. He's just standing there. Like,
just picking people off. It's the easiest day ever if you're a sniper.
Just another day in the life of Vietnam.
And he's young, too. Like, how young? I mean, I thought he was 16 when I first saw him. What was he, 12 in Vietnam?
Probably.
Because he looks real.
15, 16. Yeah. Because some of those guys used to, man.
Oh, yeah.
They used to do that. Yeah. 16, 17 years old, head over there. They'd lie in the draft. I mean, we know about it. We talked about it in World War I.
Oh, yeah.
They Shall Not Grow Old. The documentary.
Yeah, people want to get over it. But, and again, he's asking for forgiveness from the father, Flynn, which is kind of sad, knowing that he's not a real priest. And maybe the most touching part of the entire movie. And some really good acting from Miller also, from the bellboy.
The cast was so strong in this movie. Yeah. Every single person, I thought, really did a great job.
But he's crying, and they play a little game, a little Russian roulette.
That
Not
is
Russian
exactly
roulette. It's actually just roulette.
It's just roulette,
but it is like Russian roulette.
But you call the wrong one, you die. So it is Russian roulette, essentially.
They do that, and
this is Manson roulette.
And he ends up fucking picking the right. He ends up living the roulette game too.
He did.
And of course, not good because Emily
had the red.
Yeah, red. Did not always bet on black.
Always bet black.
Always bet on black. That's easy. It's the number one rule. And, well, she gets shot, right?
She does, right in the chest with that giant python.
Yeah. She gets shot by...
Billy D. Or Billy Lee, excuse me.
Billy Lee, yeah.
And Rose just watches in the fire, her eyes cold as ice.
Yes.
She's watching through the fire. She does not care.
I know. It's, she's gone at this point.
Look up at her sister saying, I still love you even though you are a cunt and made me die.
Yeah.
It's kind of what...
It's shitty because the sister, you could tell the sister is like, she's gone. She's won everything.
She's not
there. Was no
She's not there anymore.
There's no... I mean, even if they got away, she would have went right back to old Billy. And she would have murdered...
How do you sacrifice a sister that's been that good to you for love?
Well, you don't unless you're in a cult.
Good point.
Because that was literally the only person that was ever good to her. I mean, Billy Lee was never good to her.
No, her own father wasn't even good to her.
Billy Lee made her fucking fight in the Fight Club.
Yeah.
He's like,
and kill someone for her.
And he killed those other however many other couples that they murdered that night. I mean, it doesn't say it just showed in this one, but I assume
there were
they
a string
killed
of
him.
murders throughout it. Yeah.
And then Billy Lee's about to roll the dice on another game, and Joel Bridges gets in a little tussle with him.
He says, to hell with this. We're not going to go one and one. It's like, I'm going to take my chances right here and there.
And I like the scene where Billy Lee wanted Darlene to sing. And Joel Bridges like, don't fucking sing for this guy. He's going to kill you no matter what.
But we got to talk about right before when she literally...
breaks him down.
Destroys him, man. I mean,
that's the part that we're talking about, where she explains it. She explains what a cult leader is exactly, and it's
goes, I've been around.
It's
man,
every
whole life.
It's just manipulate people. Yeah,
that
was really cool. I liked it.
Of the movie, as far as acting wise, I mean, she fucking nailed that.
Well, that's the thing about this movie is. I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but really the entire thing is built around these last 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The last 20 minutes are so good. Unfortunately, I don't think they're good enough to where you can just forget about the entire first half, which the first half isn't bad, but it's built around these last 20 minutes are really, really good, which I just wish if the entire movie had been that good, this movie would have been amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it would've been one
everyone
of the
would
best,
still be
yeah.
talking about this movie. But yeah, the last few scenes with her just saying how she kept saying how bored she was. I loved it, man.
So good.
Yeah. And you can see in Chris Hemsworth, again, he does a good job. He's just deflated. And then he's about to cry, it looks like.
He goes, fine, be quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bitch, whatever. Which again, that's what cold leaders are. They're just whiny people that think they're owed something. The entire reason fucking Manson went crazy was because the record label denied him. Said, you suck at singing. You're not going to make it.
He couldn't handle that.
No, and then he went and murdered people because of it. And then Hollywood denied him and everything. So he went and murdered actors. And just because he couldn't handle rejection. Same with Billy Lee. Not a big fan of rejection. Not a fan of any women that talks without him giving permission first. And they get in a little fight, though, finally, because he's right about to kill Darlene at this point. And it sucks because she sings for him, and she sings just this heartbreaking melody.
It's great. And he cuts her off.
He does, and he just goes, and I love it because he's like, not for me.
Yeah, he goes, I've heard better.
And you could tell it's just because...
It's out of spite.
Yeah. He's super jealous that she's an amazing... And right before that, she just knocked him down
a notch.
A few
Probably
notches,
10 notches, yeah.
It was so bad where the other cultists around were like looking at each other like, this guy is kind of an asshole.
Yeah, like, on second thought, I don't know
like
if I actually
she just
like
fucking
this guy.
shook him to the core. But yeah, so they get in a little tussle and Bridges ends up fighting him, and just as Lee is about to kill Doc, Billy Lee gets the other hand on him. Miles picks up the gun because remember Miles, he doesn't want to kill him.
And this is where the flashback actually occurs because Darlene's like, help. And he goes, I can't kill any more people. I can't kill any more people. Flashback to him in Vietnam sniping people.
And then weirdly, Darlene is like, how many people did you kill? Like, what a weird question to ask now.
In that scenario, it's like, it's more important just pick up the fucking gun.
Like she was more just interested. Like, this guy's really fucked up. I kind of want to know.
I'm curious now. I mean, he's working at a pervert hotel. He's killed a lot of people.
How many
just
people have you
Joffrey
killed,
Dahmer.
you psycho? I know. You're going to kill me?
Easy, Bundy.
Yeah, but so he doesn't want to kill one more person. And it kind of ruins the number 123 people. It's kind of crisp number. It's
a nice number to have.
124 people?
Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Doesn't have the same ring to it. But eventually she does talk him into it.
He does. And he shoots 3 or 4 of them, actually. 3 or 4 of the cult members.
And he's got a great shot.
We kind of get an anticlimactic shot. Yeah, he does have a great shot. He really does.
Like he said, I mean, that was the reason he killed 123 people. Is because he's good at killing
Pinpoint
people.
accuracy.
Yeah, you don't kill 100 plus without being really, really good at it.
Okay,
No.
you're not walking on the battlefield. Just
You might be able to murder a few people just lucky. I mean,
especially spray and pray.
Of course, yeah.
Everyone can do that. But
123, you're hitting your shots
every time.
You're hitting
9 times out of 10. You were the 1%.
Oh, absolutely. So, he kills pop, and like you said, a little anticlimactic, but I like it because if it's more realistic, not every death is going to be Hans Gruber falling
Grandiose
from the top
death.
of that yelling, that last.
And that's what I was going to bring up too, honestly, because it was anticlimactic, but again, and we've referenced it a few times, but it was kind of Quentin Tarantino-esque, where it was like,
anybody can die in any way at any point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the kind of thing.
And it's just, and I actually do like that. And even though I say that, and I know anti is normally a negative, but anticlimactic was almost a good thing in this instance because he just died.
Yeah.
Miles just shot him in the head, and then it was over.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be some big. He doesn't have to blow up or, I mean, anything dramatic. Like any movie with any bad guy now, it has to be something crazy where it has to be. But yeah, just a quick kill. That's all it takes. And that's really the biggest thing is now he can't. For cult leaders, all they want to do is live. So, I mean, they'll do anything to live.
Anything.
I mean, as long as ruin anyone's life. Yeah, anything. So for him to just end it, I kind of like that. And we have compared it a lot to Quentin Tarantino, where with Quentin Tarantino, it really feels like any minute anyone can die. Where this one definitely feels a little more on rails, but it's kind of, did like it that it was kind of more loose, where I felt like at some points anyone could die, but of course the main characters didn't die.
Yeah.
Where in a Quentin Tarantino movie, I think a lot more people would have died in this. But yeah, so they end up living, and the next day, Darlene ends up performing at the. I would have taken a day off personally.
I would have taken a week off.
And you gotta think she's got pretty good money now, right?
Hell yeah, she went 50-50. God knows how much money was there, but it was a lot of money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a lot of money.
And Bridges ended up living too. I forgot about that.
He did. Both of them did.
Because he ends up going and seeing her at the very end.
And he gives her the old tip of the hat at the end of the movie.
And they burned down the hotel.
They did. I don't think they meant to, but
no, no, they didn't burn it down.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna burn this shit down now. But they got rid of a lot of evidence, and they ended up burning the reel.
Right, and we didn't talk about this yet, but we have to because Rose freaking out. Her boyfriend's dead.
Good. Yeah, that
right.
was good. Yeah.
Her boyfriend's dead. Billy
give a shit about
dead.
her sister dying.
Didn't care.
Cared a lot about
Literally
Billy.
just stared into her dying soul and said, "I do not care."
Cared a lot about Billy.
A lot about
Billy D.
And she picked up the old hunting knife and stabs Miles, and then we get that really good scene where Darlene's like, "Help him," because Flynn goes over there. Father Flynn, is going over there trying to help him. He goes, "I can't do anything to medically help him." She goes, "No, help him."
Mm-hmm.
And so then he goes into the priest.
He's not really a priest.
He's not really a priest, but he knows all the words.
Yeah.
So like how to
because he was probably Catholic.
Yeah, he probably actually was. Yeah.
Like most people. I mean, back then you were either Catholic or Protestant. I mean, there wasn't very many people in between.
But Miles confesses his sins, and I thought that scene was really good too. And
it is really
great acting.
Because the peak bad guy scene is the scene with Miles right before he's about to die because of the roulette. He's freaking out to Jeff Bridges, telling him to ask for forgiveness, and peak bad guy, the asshole he is, Chris Hemsworth goes, "He's not really a priest," and that breaks his heart, right? He's been lying to you this entire time. But yeah, that very end.
You just see the disappointment in Miles.
Yeah,
He's
that's
to his core, man.
And that's the moment you hate fucking Chris Hemsworth the most because he's an asshole for sure. Yeah, he finally lets him, forgives him for everything he's done, and he's sent off, and he does end up killing. He ended up killing more people than that 123.
He did. I think the grand total was 127, 128.
Yeah, around there for sure. Yeah, but and they end up burning down the El Royale, and that is the El Royale.
Yes,
good times, bad times, any times.
Great Led Zeppelin song, man. Let me tell you, from the original Led Zeppelin.
Oh yes, sir.
God,
well, Mason, this is the first movie. This is the second time a movie that is a year old. What did you think about it? Did it age well?
I really wanted to see this in theaters. I was bummed I didn't get a chance to. I saw it was on HBO. This is not the only movie that I found out was on HBO. I have watched A Star is Born twice in 2 days. Watched it back to back.
You're not watching the right movies.
I drank a bottle of whiskey and wanted to die in my sleep. That movie is some of the most depressing shit I've ever watched in my life, but one of the best movies I've ever seen. So seeing that all these movies were on HBO, I definitely wanted to see Bad Times at El Royale, and I was surprisingly really happy with this movie. Is it the best film of all time? No. But I thought it was entertaining. I really enjoyed the characters. Character development is huge for me. I was invested into every single character, even not knowing much. Necessarily a huge backstory on each one, but I knew just enough to keep me interested. I really loved the performances. I thought Chris Hemsworth was awesome. I thought Jeff Bridges crushed. Cynthia, that scene, obviously we talked about when she's deconstructing Chris Hemsworth character. I just thought it was awesome. One of my gripes about the movie, though, is the fact that for me, it did feel a little too long. I feel like you could have taken out 15, 20 minutes. There was a time where this movie got really slow. And to bring up your point earlier, where you're talking about how the acting was really good in those 20 minutes. If we could have had that and we could have condensed that down to like a sharp 2 hours and had more of that, I think this would have been one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah.
So my overall grade, that's my only real gripe, is the movie was a little long and slow at times, in my opinion. Other than that, I did like this movie. I give this a B+.
Wow.
Yeah, I was shocked with it. I like the gore. I like the violence. I like how it threw you for a loop. Like not all the main characters you thought were going to live lived. Some of them died, and some of them died in a very non-spectacular non-spectacular way, and that's the kind of stuff that I like.
Mhm.
That's the kind of stuff I like to see because that is real life.
Yeah.
And when it happens, it's I don't know, it's appealing to me. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I agree with you. It's every person that has seen this movie, which wasn't a lot of people, but every person that comes up to me or that I talk about it with, they're always surprised.
Mhm.
I mean, they're always like, I couldn't believe it, because I really think advertising killed this movie. I mean, no one really went and saw it. It had a $2 million budget, which for the movie seems a little expensive for me. I'm
It does.
guessing that a lot of that went to set design and paying the actors, because set design was amazing. I mean, down to even the small details I really enjoyed, where it was like all the matchbooks had like El Royale and all that stuff, and they had like their own. I really liked that stuff. It looked amazing.
It was very authentic looking.
Yeah, but
The
for
hotel was
32
great,
million,
too.
I think they could have done this for cheaper, for sure. It may maybe not have looked as great, but there wasn't. I mean, wasn't any special effects or anything like that. So I think like for me, you probably could have made this movie if you already had the hotel. I know that they had to build the entire hotel from scratch, which is tough. 'Cause that's probably going to cost you $10 million alone.
Yeah.
But if you had the hotel already and you could have just filmed it in a pre-existing hotel and just did it, I think you could have made it for probably $15 million. I mean, easily, right?
Mhm.
But of course, they had to pay. I mean, it had a ton of really good people in it, and like you said, it's probably not the most memorable movie, but it is something original, which is very refreshing in the landscape of all the remakes and reboots that we have, and we're always bitching about it. But it's nice to have a movie that's not a reboot or a remake. And this
totally
movie
agree.
is very original, and it felt original the entire time. We compared it to Tarantino, but it's never bad when you're being compared to Tarantino.
Never. It's never a negative.
Yeah.
I mean, when has anyone compared someone to Tarantino and been like, oh, yeah.
It's not, and if anything, I wish maybe they had more, even maybe more interesting dialogue between the characters, maybe more interacting between the characters, where we don't get a lot of interaction. Besides that first part when they're all in the lobby, they all go their separate ways, and then the movie really starts kicking off, and and it's always just a panic when they're interacting. So we never get. I would kind of liked it if each character maybe wound up in the lounge together, and we each got a story. Because I would have liked maybe to learn more about John Hamm's background,
Yeah, exactly.
even if he's lying and bullshitting about this vacuum background or anything. I would like to learn more maybe about him. And
That's the thing that separates this film from a Quentin Tarantino film is the dialogue.
oh, for sure,
The dialogue was not nearly as strong because you look at a Quentin Tarantino film,
It's
the
all
dialogue
dialogue.
is always strong. It's always strong. It's always top notch. It's always an A+.
Yeah.
And I think that was the only real thing that separated this from being
Mm-hmm.
a Quentin Tarantino film was the dialogue. I totally agree with you. They in a lot of areas it could have been a lot more interesting.
Yeah, because they were talking. Like, I mean, there wasn't very much talking, but they just didn't have a lot to say. Maybe. Where in Quentin Tarantino, with a Tarantino movie, every time you hear someone talk, maybe it's a little unrealistic, but they're saying something profound.
Yes.
Like, it's like every time they talk, it seems like you have to be listening. Like, you have to be like, you should be writing this down. And that's even like the fucking janitor in a Tarantino movie. Even he's got something profound to say in this. And this, maybe it wasn't, it could have been more of that maybe. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Again, maybe not the most memorable film. Maybe it's not a film we'll be talking about 20 years down the road. But I gave it a B-.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Average that up. That's a solid B from the Have You Seen It podcast.
Oh, as solid as you can
Solid
be.
B. Would you recommend this? Like, if someone had HBO, would you recommend go and see it?
Absolutely. I would have recommended this. I probably would have recommended this if it was a slow day in the theater.
Yeah.
I would have probably, if you had nothing else, or maybe a $5 Tuesday or something.
Yeah, because the
But yeah.
performances alone are worth it.
Yeah, but if it's free, yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's better than a lot of the trash that's out right
That's
now. I
seeping
mean,
right
it's
now.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna go see Aladdin or something, just see Bad Times at the Royale. I think you'll be getting a little more worth your time.
I think so.
I think so, yeah. Well, all right, Mace.
Alrighty. Well, that does it for us on this episode. You guys can follow us on YouTube. Type in Have You Seen It podcast. We are the first one. We are the Angry Popcorn in the director's chair. You will find us because we are the first one now with the
I like that. I
algorithms
like
on
this.
YouTube. It sounds great. Have You Seen It podcast, SCENE. You can find us on Instagram, Have You Seen It? Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Facebook, type in Have You Seen It Podcast. You can find us anywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher. We are anywhere you can find podcasts. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know. We always comment back with you guys. We always are very interactive on our pages. Let us know what you guys thought about this movie, about movies in the future, what kind of trailer reactions you guys would like to see. Always trying to grow and promote this page more.
Facebook and Instagram are a great place is to get in touch with us. We're pretty in touch with people.
We're very active on
YouTube. Yeah, and leave us a review on iTunes. We can always use more reviews.
We definitely could. Yeah. For sure. We have all 5-star reviews right now, but we could definitely use some more of those.
We all 5-star reviews on Facebook also, I noticed.
We do. Yes, we do. We're running pretty good right now, my friend. All righty. Until next time.
Bye.